Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a receptionist and a teacher talking about classes at a community college. Read questions 1 to 4.
Good evening. How may I help you?
My name's Amal Nouri. I'm a new teacher.
Nice to meet you, Amaral. You're teaching Arabic, aren't you?
Spanish, actually. I'm from Argentina. My relatives moved there a long time ago. You'd be surprised how big the Arab community is in Latin America.
But Spanish isn't on tonight. It's tomorrow, Wednesday.
I know. I just thought I'd introduce myself. When I came for my interview, I only met the principal.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes, Trevor Andrews. I must say he made me feel welcome, especially since he speaks Spanish himself.
Trevor's a lovely guy. We're going to miss him when he leaves at the end of the term.
Oh, why is he leaving? Has he found another job?
No, he's retiring. He wants to spend more time with his grandchildren.
Right. He did mention them to me.
Did Trevor also mention that he likes to sit in on new teachers' classes, just for a few minutes? It's the policy of the college that new teachers are observed either by Trevor or by the vice principal. I'm sure it's in your contract.
Probably.
Don't worry, it's all quite informal. You won't need to submit a lesson plan. Actually, student feedback at the end of the term is taken more seriously.
I see.
One more piece of advice, Amaral. Don't be upset about the fact that you'll start the term with 15 students but end up with 5. That's just what happens with evening classes. People sign up for these things without really knowing what's involved, or something else comes up on that night. The high dropout rate is no reflection on your teaching.
Thanks for the tip. Anyway, the real reason I'm here tonight is that I'd like to enroll in a class. I saw in the contract that teachers can take one class themselves, paying only 10% of tuition, which seems a pretty good deal.
Indeed. When I was teaching keyboarding skills, I did Korean and car maintenance. However, for a few courses, like life drawing, where students have to pay for a model, or cooking with seafood, where the ingredients are expensive, I'm afraid teachers can't pay only 10%. They have to pay the full fee.
Before you listen to the rest of the conversation, you have 30 seconds to read questions 5 to 10.
So, Amaral, what would you like to do?
I'm interested in Sally Burton's class called Working with Wool. I read about her in the local paper.
Yes, she's very popular.
She made those amazing sculptures near the town hall. I'd no idea that wool could be used in such huge artworks. I'd always thought of it just in clothing or carpets.
Unfortunately, Sally's class is full. You see, she holds it in her studio, so she only accepts 7 students, and we've already had 7 enrollments. I could put you on the waiting list.
It's all right. My second choice was watercolor painting on Tuesdays and Fridays. Yikes! There's a class tonight.
Kostia's class is also popular, but someone's just canceled, so there is a place for you.
Great.
For the first few nights, he's in room 14, but later in the term, when it's lighter in the evening, he takes his class on excursions to the river. There were some gorgeous paintings of the river in the end-of-term exhibition last year.
Sounds good. By the way, where will my class be tomorrow?
I'm not sure yet. We've had to make a few changes, but I'll give you a call or send you a text when I know.
Okay.
I don't think I've got your phone number.
It's 0212-064-993.
993 or 553?
993.
Thanks. Lovely to meet you, Amarl. I hope you'll enjoy your time with us.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a woman talking to voluntary guides at an art gallery. Before you listen, you have 30 seconds to read questions 11 to 14.
Good morning, I'm Wendy McEwen. Please call me Wendy. I train volunteers at the gallery, and it's my great pleasure to meet you today. To begin, I'd like to quote from a speech made in 1882 by our first director, Eliezer Montefiore. He said the Australian public should be afforded every facility to avail themselves of the educational and civilising influence engendered by an exhibition of works bought at the public expense. We now live in a world where the notion of civilization is seldom discussed, so let me mention some of its synonyms: enlightenment, refinement, and conformity with the standards of a highly developed society. In my view, this is what the creation and enjoyment of art can do for the public: conform, refine, and enlighten. The idea of civilization may be unfashionable, but an interest in different civilizations has certainly grown. Australian art is well represented in our collection. We have some wonderful paintings by Grace Cossington-Smith and Arthur Boyd, but there are Asian and European works to rival those abroad. In fact, the single most expensive purchase this gallery has ever made was a $16.2 million landscape painted in 1888 by Paul Cézanne. Visitors will ask you for this figure, just as they'll be curious about Cézanne's career as a banker in France and his time with his lover in Tahiti. Sometimes it seems the public is more interested in trivia than in art, so it's your job to inform about the techniques of production, the themes an artwork deals with, as well as the culture from which it came. Elevate cultural discourse rather than stoop to the level of the popular press. Bear in mind those words of Eliezer Montefiore.
Before you listen to the rest of the talk, you have 30 seconds to read questions 15 to 20.
While guides are diverse, guiding is systematic. By this, I mean we adhere to standardised delivery, whether tours be for viewers on Saturday morning, for school groups, or for VIPs. Standardised delivery means that guides give the public virtually the same information about the same artworks. Sure, we all have our personal styles, but the content needs to be the same. To that end, guides are tested on information before taking their first tour. Guides also have to keep an eye on the clock. Guided tours last 1 hour. Since the building is large, part of that time is taken up in walking as well as mentioning the location of toilets, fire exits and drinking fountains. After recent additions, the gallery is twice the size it was in 2013. So ask your group where they'd like to go first. Then calculate how many artworks you can see on each level. Aim for a total of 14 in your hour. In each room, there's lots to see, but you'll only be talking about 1 or 2 items. By all means, when people in your group want to know about a work not on your list, go to it, but be brief. For the iconic works by Australian painters, you'll need to take longer. Some of these iconic works are part of the school curriculum, and many are known to international visitors who come just to see them. In the past, guides stood beside an artwork and gave a short speech. To a certain extent, that's still what happens with an audio tour. However, we now try to involve the public. One technique is called elicitation, when a guide asks questions about an artwork to see what knowledge already exists among the visitors. That way, you don't appear as the ultimate authority, and often visitors know considerably more than you. On that note, there will be times when you need to intervene, to let others in the group speak, to alter misconceptions, or simply to move on. As I said earlier, before you're let loose on the public, each voluntary guide is evaluated. Oh, that reminds me. I recall from your applications that 2 of you are Japanese speakers, so we'll probably ask you to take around groups of Japanese. Now, let's go into the gallery itself.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will listen to a talk between an administrative staff and a female student. The student is a new student in the law department. She is taking some general information regarding academics. Look at questions 21 to 24. Listen to the conversation and answer questions 21 to 24.
Good morning. May I come in? Yes, you may come in. Can you please guide me? Where is the Law Department office? I have been searching it all over for a while, but could not find the Dean's office. Actually, you are in the correct building. I will give you the exact directions. Thank you so much. Are you a new student? Yes, I am a new student, so I was hoping if somebody could guide me. Well, I am from Law Department. What do you want to know? Almost all the basic information about academics. What is the schedule of the lectures? Well, and you must be aware that law as a whole has many subjects under it. So all law subjects are taught 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. And what are the timings? Tell me one thing, didn't you buy the brochure where you can find all kinds of information? I went to buy the brochure but reached late and the window was closed. Yes, it is not open all day. There are some timings. Morning 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and evening 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Oh, I was not aware of the time schedule. Never mind, the lectures start in the morning at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Lunch break is from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. The time schedule seems to be very hectic and my home is not near, so a lot of time will be wasted in travelling. Well, that you have to decide, whether you want to travel on a long route. What about the attendance structure? Attendance is the foremost criteria. We expect not less than 80% attendance because our department maintains strict discipline for that.
This is a strict rule. Is it mandatory?
Oh, yes, we strictly follow this rule.
Can you please tell me what will be the schedule for the other 2 days, Monday and Wednesday?
Monday and Wednesday, each professor designs their own schedule, so the respective professor will inform you about that.
Okay, thank you.
Now look at questions 25 to 30. As the talk continues, answer questions 25 to 30.
So, something else you want to ask?
Oh, yes please. Do I have to do research work?
Yes, you have to do the research work.
Can you guide me what kind of research work is to be done?
You will be given a particular topic related to your subject on which you have to give a presentation in your class.
Only to my class or to the other batches also?
That depends on your subject's professor.
And for how long do I have to speak?
Almost for 15 to 20 minutes.
That's okay. It's neither long nor short.
And also you have to make a file on that topic and give it to your professor so that you can get marks for it. Oh, yes, marks are very important. You have the liberty to choose the topic on which you'll give the presentation, and the word limit is 2,000.
Great. I already have a topic in my mind.
You also have to give an exam.
An exam?
Yes, because your assessment will be based on that exam.
Can you guide on what topic should I start preparing?
You will be given the topics when you join the classes.
Can I take books from the library?
Yes, you may.
Should I buy my subject books or library material would be sufficient for me?
In my opinion, you should buy your subject books.
What about the placements?
We focus a lot on that part and we train our students in such a way that everybody is placed well in one or the other organisations.
That's great, so I don't have to worry on that.
Yes, we will do our best, but your efforts should also be 100%.
Definitely.
I hope you have got all the answers.
Thank you so much. You have been very helpful.
All the best.
Thank you once again.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear an extract from a talk given by a media manager from the Archaeology Department. The talk is related to the history of Antarctica. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Antarctica has no indigenous population, and there is no evidence that it was seen by humans until the 19th century. However, belief in the existence of a Terra Australis, a vast continent in the far south of the globe to balance the northern lands of Europe, Asia and North Africa, had existed since the times of Ptolemy, 1st century AD, who suggested the idea to preserve the symmetry of all known land masses in the world. Even in the late 17th century, after explorers had found that South America and Australia were not part of the fabled Antarctica, geographers believed that the continent was much larger than its actual size. Integral to the story of the origin of the name Antarctica is how it was not named Terra Australis. This name was given to Australia instead, and it was because of a mistake made by people who decided that a significant landmass would not be found further south of Australia. Explorer Matthew Finders, in particular, has been credited with popularizing the transfer of the name Terra Australis to Australia. He justified the titling of his book, A Voyage to Terra Australis, 1814, by writing in the introduction, "There is no probability that any detached body of land, or nearly equal extent, will ever be found in a more southern latitude. The name Terra Australis will therefore remain descriptive of the geographical importance of this country and of its position on the globe. It has antiquity to recommend it, and having no reference to either of the two claiming nations, it appears to be less objectionable than any other which could have been selected." On the 22nd of January 1840, 2 days after the discovery of the coast west of Bellany Islands, some members of the crew of the 1837 to 1840 expedition of Jules de Mont d'Urville disembarked on the highest islet of a group of rocky islands about 4 kilometers from Cape Geodesy, on the coast of Adelie Land, where they took some mineral, algae, and animal samples. In December 1839, as part of the United States exploring expedition of 1838 to 1842, conducted by the United States Navy, sometimes called the XX, or the Wilkes Expedition, an expedition sailed from Sydney, Australia, into the Antarctic Ocean, as it was then known, and reported the discovery of an Antarctic continent west of the Bellany Island on the 25th of January 1840. That part of Antarctica was later named Wilkes Land, a name it maintains to this day. Explorer James Clark Ross passed through what is now known as the Rossa Sea and discovered Ross Islands, both of which were named after him in 1841. He sailed along a huge wall of ice that was later named the Ross Ice Shelf. Mount Erebus and Mount Terror are named after two ships from his expedition, HMS Erebus and Terror. Mercator Cooper landed in East Antarctica on the 26th of January 1853. During the Nimrod expedition led by Ernest Shackleton in 1907, parties led by Edgeworth David became the first to climb Mount Erebus and reach the South Magnetic Pole.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.